Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host, as always, Daniel Levy, and today we're going to talk about UFC Vegas 110, Steve Garcia versus David Onama. And my friends, it's going on this Saturday night live at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. We got two emerging contenders in the UFC featherweight division, two guys on the best runs of their careers, and two of the most exciting unheralded prospect turned contenders at 145 pounds in modern day UFC. Now, I know that a lot of people are complaining about this card, not the best name value, this and that. But so what? Last week, we had all the name value, and you saw Paddy Pimblett saying that might have been the worst pay-per-view in UFC history. Now, I'm not sure if I agree, but one thing I will say is, do not judge a book by its cover, because this main event on Saturday night is between two violent individuals. And if you're just tuning in to watch some action-packed fights, then you better tune in Saturday night. So my friends, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and let's get right down to business. Because in this main event, we got Steve Garcia. He's 18-5, taking on David Onama, who's 14-2. Currently, they got it Steve Garcia minus 130. The comeback on David Onama is plus 110. So Garcia's 33, Onama's 31. Garcia is an inch taller at 6 feet tall, and he's going to have an inch reach advantage at 75 inches of reach. So, man, this is an absolute banger of a main event, and both guys have absolutely earned this opportunity. Because when you talk about a guy in Steve Garcia, I mean, he's on a 6-fight win streak, was a 5-fight kill streak, but Calvin Kattar being as ultra durable as he is, he made it all 3 rounds, albeit Steve Garcia being the first man in UFC history to drop Calvin Kattar. And on the other hand, with David Onama, I mean, he comes into the UFC against Mason Jones, has an absolute barn burner to where he left such an impression on the fans. And look what he's turned himself into. He's had his ups, he's had his downs, and now here he is in this main event against Steve Garcia. So let's get into these highlights. Because Steve Garcia, the nickname Mean Machine, is very, very fitting. This guy consistently puts on the kind of fights that the fans want to see. He went out there and dropped Calvin Kattar, which one doesn't simply do. I mean, the great Max Holloway set a significant strike record on Kattar and still couldn't put him down. Now you could say the accumulation of damage. I mean, this guy was bound to finally go down, but boy, did he go down, and his heart really showed. But here, I mean, the way that Garcia ran through Kyle Nelson, Sung Woo Choi, and everybody that they put in his path. I mean, you want to stand and bang in the pocket with Steve Garcia, you better pray that you touch his chin first, because if not, and he gets you, boy, will he get you. Here's against the streaking Melquiza Acosta, just makes an absolute massacre of his face. I mean, very fitting to see that before Halloween. Here he gets dropped by Allan, but boy, does he return the favor and then some. Look at this body shot that he's about to finish him with. Oh my God, like the wind just got knocked out of me seeing that body shot here against the ultra durable Chase Hooper. Look, Chase Hooper might not have the best striking in the world, but Chase Hooper can take a punch, and Steve Garcia knocked him down 3 times and finished the fight. Here he gets floored, because when you talk about a killer be killed fighter, hey, sometimes you're going to be, sometimes you're going to go out on your shield, But against Charlie Ontiveros, absolutely ran through him. Now, I got to mention this because a lot of people like to hold it against Steve Garcia that he got hurt early in the Charlie Ontiveros fight. But granted, guys, put context on it. It was an axe kick. And also, with Charlie Ontiveros, yes, he loses every single fight, but all 3 UFC opponents have all been strikers. Kevin Holland, Gabriel Benitez, Steve Garcia. These guys all resorted to takedowns against Charlie Ontiveros. So in those first 2 minutes, Ontiveros is hell on wheels, but Steve Garcia did what he had to do. And since that point, he's on this 6-fight win streak. I want to say 6-fight kill streak, but that Kattar lasted all 3, still got dropped. But man, Garcia has absolutely earned this main event here against David Onama. And on the other side with David Onama, I mean, talk about paying dues, man. This guy comes into the UFC against Mason Jones, but here in his most recent performance against Giga Chikadze, had to overcome a little bit early, but man, he really made his presence known against Giga Chikadze and took over late. But man, here he gets dropped against Roberto Romero. Not the best look, but talk about resiliency. He comes back and puts an MMA clinic on Roberto Romero. I mean, he gave that guy a tour of the octagon. Here against JSP Pierce, I mean, he beat JSP Pierce in a way where they got rid of JSP Pierce. I mean, a guy who was once on a 5-fight win streak, and now he's no longer in the company. Now, there were some sketchy spots in that fight. Here he's kind of trading wildly. But, dude, look at this. to floor a guy like Gabriel Moscatino Santos, here he drops Nate Landwehr, but then in the Gabriel fight, one doesn't simply knock out Gabriel Santos. So the fact that he did that is very admirable. But in the Nate the Train fight, if you can overcome the early storm by David Onama, he does tend to fatigue as fights progress, but granted, he's dangerous at all times. Here he is against the Twitter warrior, Garrett Armfield. No disrespect, but I think Garrett Armfield might be on Twitter a little bit too much for our liking. Here against Gabriel Benitez. Oh, my God. Knocks him out standing, puts him down. And then the classic Mason Jones fight, where Onama made his debut. This is the one that really left an impression on all of us about the potential of David Onama. And if this kid keeps his head on straight, if he's surrounded by the right people, he takes the right fights, he can end himself in a main event here against a fellow emerging contender in Garcia, and that's exactly what we got. This fight is truly a banger. It could go either way, but here's kind of what I'm thinking. So obviously, when you get two killer be killed type fighters, you know the possible outcomes here. Either guy could hit the deck, but if this becomes a battle of attrition and a drawn out kind of fight, I've kind of seen these kind of less athletic white dudes go out there and kind of weather Onama's early storm and break him late, whether we're talking about that debut against Mason Jones or the Nate Landwehr fight. I feel like Garcia kind of not necessarily has a similar style, but again, if you just look at their physiques, like we talked about last week with the Rakic and Mirzakhanov, if you show your girlfriend both of these guys and you ask her who's going to win, she would have said Rakic. She'll probably say Onama. And I'm not saying Onama's not going to win, because unlike Rakic, Onama is ultra confident right now, and he is in the best form of his career. The only thing that gives me pause is that if Steve Garcia is not badly compromised and he's still there as this fight starts to progress, I think that he can put it on David Onama. And I mean, Garcia has either knocked down or knocked out his last 6 opponents. That is something that you absolutely have to take note of. And of course, Onama in his current best form. So if you want to take the dog odds on Onama, I don't blame you. You want to take some kind of under inside the distance prop, I also don't blame you. But I'm going to actually go with Garcia, man. I feel like I've seen a little bit more evolution from him. Now, that might be a little harsh for me to say, because I did feel like that last fight against Giga, for Onama was a very, very mature performance. But all that being said, I've just seen more of a level up of Garcia. He seems to me like he's someone that's about to really crack possibly the top 10. So for that reason, as long as Steve Garcia can stay conscious, I think the longer this fight goes, the more it plays in his favor. And for that reason, I'm going to pick Steve Garcia to come out here, defeat David Onama, and get a high-profile fight next. Co-main event of the evening in the heavyweight division. We got Waldo Cortes Acosta. He's 14-2, taking on Ante Delija, who's 26-6. Currently, they got it. Ante -135. The comeback on Waldo is +115. So Ante is a year older at 35. Waldo is an inch taller at 6'4", and both men have a 78-inch reach in this fight. And what's interesting is that the odds actually flipped. Early in the week, I took Ante Delija at +110. And basically, he's one of these guys that I understand he's only had one UFC fight, but what you got to understand is he's someone that's done everything you can do outside the UFC to earn this opportunity and to be in these high-profile fights right away. To quote Dana White, this is one of these guys that we can throw into the mix right away, because look at the level of competition he fought outside the UFC. Some of the best that are not currently signed to the world leader. They're signed to the co-leader, But in all seriousness, Delija has been around a very, very long time. But with Waldo Cortes Acosta, he's been paying his dues in the UFC. He's a guy that comes from a baseball background, and when he throws that right hand, man, it's like he's throwing a fastball. I mean, because when we talk about this guy Waldo Cortes Acosta, he's massive for the weight class here. He had a very tough out against Sergey Pavlovich. It was what it was. Sergey is no slouch at all and one of the best in the division. But when you give Waldo a step down in competition, the way he treated Ryan Spann, and I mean, going out there and flooring him, finishing the fight, doing exactly what he needed to do. So you love to see it. Here, man, I know the UFC was pissed about him exposing Robelis to Spain. Oh, man, look at the dance that Breshke's doing here. He's dancing the night away, man. This is like some Saturday Night Live type stuff. Jabbing the absolute face off of Chase Sherman. I know Chase Sherman's kind of a punching bag, but guess what? Waldo treated him like a punching bag. And that's the kind of thing you like to see from a developing fighter. Here on his Contender Series fight, I mean, he drops the guy, gets him back up, and then pounces and finishes the fight, you know? So Waldo Cortes Acosta has been doing his thing. He's been paying his dues, and there's a lot to like about him. But on the other side, with Ante Delija, like I mentioned, this guy's crushed the grapes. Now he's drinking the wine. Comes into the UFC right away, and he just walks down Marcin Tybura without a care in the world. Showed him no respect whatsoever, and was just on an absolute mission to get him out of there from the second the bell rang to the second the ref pulled him off of him. And this is not a new thing. I mean, here he's doing it to Yorgan De Castro on the regional scene. Like, when Ante Delija smells blood, he will go for the finish, man. And then here against Renan Ferreira, you know, the former PFL champ, just takes him down and pounds him out. And what's impressive about that is that he showed off different facets of his game. And here back in the day, my boy's soccer kicking, like, yo, he's been around the block. That's what I'm trying to say. Although he's only had one UFC fight and some of the newer fans might not be used to him, this guy's been around. He's paid his dues. He's ready to be here right now. That's why he's getting this co-main event fight in his second UFC appearance. So there's a lot to like about Ante Delija. And the reason I had my boy Meticulous, shout out to the GOAT Meticulous, show that clip of the Ferreira fight is to make an emphasis that, look, obviously Delija can stand with Waldo or Cortes Acosta, but that would give Waldo his one path to victory. I don't see Waldo mixing the takedowns like he did against Robelis de Spain, but I mean, Austin Lane did that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be shocked if Waldo took down Delija, but I think that not only can Delija bang with Waldo Cortes Acosta, but I think he can come out here, take him down, and pound him out. So it could be a tough fight. I mean, sometimes the volume of Waldo is something that the judges like to see, but if Delija can close that distance, get in his face, I think he's going to have something waiting for him with those power punches. And if plan A doesn't work, plan B, get this guy to the ground and pound him out. So I think there's more paths to victory for Delija. I agree with the line move. I took Delija at dog odds on Sunday. Now he's minus 135. I did my job. Made the best man win. I'm going Ante Delija to extend his UFC win streak. Featured bout in the welterweight division. We got a matchup between Jeremiah Wells, he's 12-4-1, taking on Themba Gorimbo, who's 14-5. Currently, they got it Themba Gorimbo minus 145. The comeback on Jeremiah Wells is plus 125. So Themba's 34, Jeremiah's 39. Themba's a bit taller at 6'1". He's also going to have a 3-inch reach advantage at 77 inches of reach. So there's a lot to talk about with this fight, because with Jeremiah Wells, you're talking about a freak of nature, but he's 39 years old. So obviously you have to have a little bit of pause when you're dealing with an age like that, especially at this weight class, 170 pounds. It's not like we're talking about heavyweight or light heavyweight. Even then might be a little something. Hey, you know what? Poatan, the champ, is like 37, 38. So maybe I should take that back. But at 170 pounds, the age should give you a little bit of pause. But when you talk about Jeremiah Wells, you're talking about an absolute physical freak, man. But to the point where sometimes he gets himself a bit off balance, like you see here, can give up an easy takedown or two. But he is a Daniel Gracie black belt, so I mean, you better be on point on the mat if you want to mess around with a guy like Jeremiah Wells. Now, Carlson Harris, also a black belt, had to overcome some adversity. Now, he eventually ends up getting this nasty anaconda choke, which is all credit to Harris. I mean, that guy's got ultra long limbs, and Jeremiah Wells, the true warrior he is, did not tap out. But when he's facing someone on a lower level, the way he handled Matt Semmelsberger after overcoming knockdowns, oh my God, the way he floored Court McGee, which one doesn't simply do. Very, very impressive. Then you give him a step down in competition, he'll go out there and treat them like a step down in competition. So, oh, remember this? When he beat the dog shit out of Warley Alves, man, like, wow. So Jeremiah Wells, the age is the concern, but the physical attributes are absolutely there. And I got to give him credit in the sense that he doesn't have that much mileage on him, so maybe he's a young 39. Now, with Themba Gorimbo, listen, man, he's a physical guy, but Vicente Luque had him like, hey, yo, we say, hey, yo, daylight come and we don't want to go home. Hey, shout out Moise. He said that before me, but listen, man, Themba, from time to time, he'll go out there and use that physicality and rack up a lot of takedowns against some kind of washed up guys or unconfident guys. And, you know, they gave him some favorable matchups at times, but I haven't quite seen that evolution and that progress in his game that I want to see. And here he drops Pete Rodriguez, which if you haven't figured out how to do, I don't know what to say to you, especially at this level. But hey, he dropped Takashi Sato. We never heard from Sato ever again. But here, I mean, dives right into a guillotine against AJ Fletcher. I believe that was AJ Fletcher's only UFC win. And you got quite the quick tap there. So Themba's one of these guys, when he can be the hammer, he can go out there and use that physicality. But you know what I said when he first came to the UFC? Like, you guys know that I pay very close attention to the African prospects. No disrespect, but I said that Themba Gorimbo is kind of the runt of the litter of the African fighters. And I believe that that's been proven to be true. So the thing about this matchup is that the way Themba won against like Ramiz Brahimaj or say Nico Price, is he got like 7 takedowns, 5 takedowns, and he was able to kind of control them a bit. You're going to do that to a Daniel Gracie black belt? Now, maybe because, Wells is 39 years old allegedly, but at the same time, Wells does bring that danger factor that Themba Gorimbo struggled with, man. Themba Gorimbo is a bit on the chinny side, and now he must be at a very low confidence level. I mean, this guy deleted all his social media, which kind of brings up some other questions for me aside from the fight, which is like, number one, how does The Rock feel about that? But more importantly than that, wasn't this guy like having like links to like send donations to like build like water wells in Africa and stuff like that? Like, why would you take down your social media? Like, don't you want people to still donate to your cause? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of sketchy stuff about this guy. Like, I mean, don't y'all see it as a massive sign of weakness that this guy deleted his social media? Hey, maybe it's a non-factor. Maybe he comes out here, racks a bunch of takedowns on Wells and does his thing. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This guy might have been a scammer all along, and with Wells, we know what to expect. He's wild. He's aggressive. He's physical. Hits like an absolute truck. Has a serious black belt. But at some point, the wheels are going to fall off. And I did say when he comes back, I'm going to fade him. I just didn't anticipate it was going to be against Themba Gorimbo. So, yeah, tough fight to call. And in those instances, I usually lean with the underdog. So I'm going to take Jeremiah Wells to come out here and upset Themba Gorimbo. Next up in the featherweight division, we got a matchup between Isaac Dulgarian, he's 7-1, taking on Yadier Del Valle, who's 9-0. Currently, they got it Dulgarian minus 240. The comeback on Del Valle is plus 205. Both men are 29. Yadier is 2 inches taller at 5'9", but it's Dulgarian that's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage at 71 inches of reach. So hell of a matchup between two serious prospects, in my opinion. The question is, who's the more serious prospect with the higher upside? We'll talk about it. So when you talk about Yadier Del Valle, I mean, look at him. Very physical guy and very confidence-based fighter. And he's someone that's going to go out there and take a lot of risks. Hey, poor Connor Matthews. This can't catch a break. Those Cage Titan guys, they don't do well in the UFC, man. Hey, shout out Mitch Raposo. I'm wrong, but, for the most part, here on Contender Series, hey, the guy's got a chin on him too, but he was in there with a very experienced opponent, and he really put it on him late. So you love to see it. Hey, man, did this dude with these yoga pants, did he steal those from his girlfriend? I mean, what's this guy wearing, man? Hey, man, come on. I mean, if you don't take yourself seriously, why am I supposed to take you seriously? So Yadier Del Valle handled him very, very accordingly. And here you see his guillotine, and honestly, I like that he got the tap, but yeah, I don't think that his guillotine is necessarily on the highest level. Like when I think about a seriously dangerous guillotine. And the reason I got to bring this up is because Dulgarian is a highly credentialed grappler. When I think of real world-class guillotines, I think of Charles Dubrox Oliveira. I think of Fabricio Vaicavalo Werdum. Whereas Del Valle, he does have an affinity for the guillotine, just like myself, but I still think that the angles and, certain things, I think he needs a lot of work on that to make it a serious threat in a fight like this. Now, I could be wrong about that, but that's just my opinion before the fact. Now, when you talk about Isaac Dulgarian, I think this guy can be described as a blue chip prospect. I mean, his grappling game is absolutely disgusting. And what I love about him is that he knows exactly where his strengths lie. He's not going to come out here and just go stand and bang for his ego and fight uncharacteristic. Look at that arm triangle. The left elbow was fully down like it should be. And here's the thing with fighting a guy like C-Rod. I don't know what it is, man, but whenever C-Rod fights an undefeated prospect, man, I mean, like, hands Raul Rosas Jr. is first L, hands Cameron Simon is first L, hands Isaac Dulgarian is first L, hands Austin Bashi is first L. Look at the soccer kick. Yeah, C-Rod's a gangster for throwing that soccer kick. Respect, man. But, man, the way that Isaac Dulgarian did Francis Marshall, absolutely ridiculous, and just shows the potential, the ground dominance, and if this guy develops the right way, takes the proper fights, I mean, I view him as a future top 10 guy. So all respect to Del Valle. I mean, I think he's a very, very good prospect. It's just that I think we're dealing with a future, possibly not, I mean, not yet, but I'm saying in 2 years from now, a possible future title contender in Isaac Dulgarian. And one thing that I was kind of wrong about with Del Valle, pre-tape, I thought that this guy's got like a really good gas tank. Not that he doesn't, but sometimes he goes balls to the wall to the point where he starts to fatigue down the stretch. And fatiguing down the stretch against a guy like Dulgarian is the last place you want to be. Now, you could counter me and say, well, Dulgarian fatigued badly against C-Rod, but I mean, you should see some of those scrambles, and C-Rod can scramble with the best of them. You saw how C-Rod scrambled with Raul Rosas. You see how C-Rod scrambled with Austin Bashi. Very, very serious grapplers. I just think this is a completely different matchup. And I think that if Del Valle wants to go for his guillotine here, then he's going to get his guard passed. And when Dulgarian settles on top, I mean, he rains down ground and pound from the heavens, and he goes out there and finishes fight. So big respect to both guys, but I think that Dulgarian has a great matchup on his hands, and I think he's going to come out here and make the kind of statement where people are like, oh, this guy could be a problem one day. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Isaac Dulgarian to get the biggest win of his career. Next up in the welterweight division, we got a matchup between Charles Radtke, the Chuck Buffalo. He's 10-5, taking on Daniel Frunza, who's 9-3. Currently, they got it. Chuck Buffalo -160. The comeback on Daniel Frunza is +140. So Radtke's 35, Frunza's 31. Frunza's quite a bit taller at 6'1" compared to Radtke's 5'9", but only a 1-inch reach advantage at 73 inches of reach. Now, when you talk about this guy, Charles Radtke, he's definitely a kill or be killed fighter. And what he does best is that those overhand rights to those left hooks to those uppercuts, I mean, he can floor guys in the pocket. But here, as you see, kill or be killed, Mike Malott floored him badly after Charles Radtke talked insane amounts of shit. But here against Matt Semmelsberger, who also hits hard, I mean, look, he got floored by the Chuck Buffalo. Here against Carlos Prates, big step up in competition, goes down to a nasty knee. I mean, there was no stopping that knee. It was what it was. But you give him a step down against Urbina, boom, left hook, floors him, puts him down. Somehow he stood back up. Don't ask me how, because I just don't know. But guess what? Back down again, left hook, finishes the fight. I mean, Charles Radtke, he hits hard. He's a banger. He's kind of a meathead, as you guys know. And some of his post-fight interviews are either questionable or funny, depending how you view it. Maybe both. But definitely he's the kind of guy that he's just fun to watch. I mean, he goes out there, swings big, kill or be killed, and that's what the fans love to see. Now, you can say similar things about his opponent, Daniel Frunza, in the sense that he's kill or be killed, but I would say he's a little bit more on the sloppier side than Charles Radtke. I mean, when you get floored 3 times by Reese McKee, and this is not like a one-time thing, my friends. I mean, it's a 3-time thing. But I'm saying, like, prior to this UFC debut, I had big concerns about Daniel Frunza, man. And I was questioning in his Contender Series appearance, this one right here, before the fact that it's not going to pan out long-term for Frunza in the UFC. Now, I was impressed with this fight because he was up there against a super experienced guy, and he straight up broke him. So you can't question the toughness of Frunza, but what I can question is, look at this elbow that he floors this guy with. But he had to go through some stuff in this fight. So the toughness is there for Frunza. It's just one of those things. And he hits hard, too. Look, face plants that guy. But look, from time to time, man, he's going to be on the receiving end. Like right here, gets floored, immediately gets his back taken and gets choked out. So both these guys live by the sword and die by the sword. But what I think ultimately is the difference is that I just kind of think that Radtke, not only does he have a better training situation, over there training with the guys like Bilal and, Brennan Allan and everyone at that team, but more importantly, his hands are just simply tighter. His defense is a little tighter too. I know, like I said, I know he got, dropped by, ranked guys like Malott and Carlos Prates, but Frunza is none of the above. I mean, those are top 15 guys. This is like a top 115 guy, maybe even less than that. So not crazy about laying chalk on Radtke when, you know, I know he's had injuries. He's coming off a knockout loss. So, and he's fighting another killer be killed fighter who's got a lot of heart. So yeah, you know, and I've counted out Frunza before and he's proven me wrong, like on that Contender Series fight. But all that being said, I've seen that Charles Radtke a little bit cleaner, a little tighter, and then he's going to come out here and knock out Daniel Frunza. Next up in the flyweight division, we got a matchup between Allan Nascimento, he's 21-6, taking on Cody Durden, who's 17-8-1. Currently, they got it Allan Nascimento minus 250. The comeback on Cody Durden is plus 210. Both men are 34. Nascimento's an inch taller at 5'8", and he's also going to have a 2.5-inch reach advantage at 69.5 inches of reach. So shout out to my boy Cody Durden taking this fight on a week short notice. You know, I mean, Cody Durden is the definition of anyone, anytime, any place. I mean, what's my proof of that? Well, let's go back to his UFC debut, up a weight class on a week short notice against Chris Gutierrez, who, you know, he might either be ranked or he's formally ranked, and gets a 10-8 round in that first round. Then you give him a step down against JP Buys, who was a loser go home match. And Cody went out there and stopped him in the first round. You know, Montel Jackson couldn't stop him, period. So shout out to Cody Durden on that knockout. Then you see him against, you know, the former LFA champ, does his thing. And then another former LFA champ and Charles Johnson, who's doing his thing these days. Hey, Charles Johnson couldn't get his late finish here. Charles Johnson couldn't overcome adversity here. Then against Matt Schnell, another 1 week short notice fight, goes out there and banging with Matt Schnell. Eventually makes Matt Schnell take a terrible shot. And look at this rolling ninja choke. I mean, absolutely disgusting. Gets the signature double tap by Matt Schnell. Now, in his most recent fight in Atlanta, goes toe-to-toe with a really tough kid in Jose Ochoa. And listen, it seemed like the tide was starting to sway a bit, but then he got caught early second round, and Jose Ochoa closed the show. So that's all credit to Jose Ochoa. Now, I got to say one thing. For those that have never watched Half the Battle before, I'm very biased versus Durden because this is a real life friend of mine. I mean, I've been to this guy's house multiple times, met his wife and kids. We talk all the time. Durden's my guy, and he's also done a lot for me behind the scenes. So, you know, there's no way I'm picking against Cody Durden. That's my guy, and I will let you know when I have a bias, and I'm doing that. I'm super transparent, but I'm under no delusions that this is not a tough fight, because when you're talking about Allan Nascimento, one of the most physical guys in the UFC flyweight division. If you think that Cody asked for the 130-pound catchweight coming off a 1 week notice, no, it was actually Allan Nascimento that did. You know what I'm saying, man? And Allan Nascimento's grappling chops are second to none. And here he's in a really bad spot with Jafel Filio, serious black belt, and overcomes the adversity and ends up doing his thing against Carlos Hernandez. Runs through him in a way where it was like, oh shit. Like, Carlos Hernandez usually goes to war with guys. And Allan Nascimento, that body triangle with that size, man, it's just so tough to deal with. And yeah, these are the spots you don't want Durden to be in, right? Against Jake Hadley, gave him a tour of the octagon. Interestingly enough, Cody also beat the dog shit out of Jake Hadley. They had an incredible fight too. But yeah, man, Nascimento coming out of that shoot-to-box camp had a great fight with Yadier too, man. And he can be taken down, but he can also take you down. He can sweep guys. Like, look at this stuff, man. So yeah, Cody's got to mind his P's and Q's here. So I already prefaced this by saying that I'm very biased because this is like my friend, you know what I'm saying? But that being said, I think there is a path to victory for both guys, obviously. For Cody, who I want to win, I think that using that state championship wrestling in reverse, stuffing this guy's takedowns, I think that Cody's got more volume on the feet. I think he can box this guy up, especially if Nascimento starts to fade as the fight progresses. Now, you could make a similar argument that Cody fades in a lot of his fights, but a lot of those fights, you know, he's going toe-to-toe with Josh Van. You know what I'm saying? Like, high-paced fights. Like, I know Durden's not on the best run of his career, but look at the guys he's been fighting. Tagiru Lambekov, Josh Van, Bruno Bulldog, man. Like, come on, man. Like, he's been fighting some of the best of the best. So, you know, you got to cut him some slack in that department. But Allan Nascimento, you can make the argument he's one of the best of the best. So Cody Durden never takes easy fights, taking this on 1 week short notice. But I must preface that by saying there's 1 week short notice and there's 1 week short notice. Cody's been at ATT, you know, the last 7 weeks training with Pantoja, Kyoji Horiguchi, and all these guys. So he's in shape. and there will never be excuses from a guy like Cody Durden. This guy's a real man. So I know he's up against it here. I know Nascimento is the real deal. I do think that Cody Durden's got a path to victory, and I'm obviously rooting for him. And I've never picked against Cody Durden before, and I'm not going to start here, man. I mean, when you guys have a close friend that fights in the UFC, let me know if you're going to pick against them, because I'm not. So keep this fight standing, stuff this guy's takedowns. Once he gets in that fatigue state, start to box him up a bit, but please don't fight with your ego, Cody Durden, because the issue that Cody runs into is that he tries to be the Justin Gaethje of the flyweight division. And I heard Santino and Brandon's breakdown, and I felt like they actually broke this fight down the best out of anyone I've heard yet. They said that Durden's got past the victory in a lot of fights, but sometimes he overfights. Sometimes he just he goes balls to the wall. And when you're a balls to the wall fighter, you're going to leave openings for that finish. Can Nascimento test the ego of Cody to get him to that place? Because Josh Van, the pace he fights at compared to the pace that Nascimento fights at is night and day. So yeah, there's spots you don't want to be in. You do not want a guy like Nascimento on your back. But that being said, Cody, use that state championship wrestling in reverse, stuff this guy's takedowns, box him up, and come out here and get this big upset. I'm going Cody Durden to shock the world. If you're looking for a sports book that doesn't limit winners or play games when it's time to get paid, then listen up. My friends at Bet105 are a crypto-only book with high limits, so you can get down whatever you want. And when it's time to get paid, no KYC, no insane questions. They're not going to send you some verification code. Then by the time you type it in, it's already expired. And guys, we got the World Series. We got NFL. We got UFC every single week. For UFC, they're offering split decision insurance. And have y'all seen the officiating lately? I mean, if you bet on Jailton Almeida last week, guess what? They're going to give you 25% of your money back. No questions asked. Doesn't matter who you think won, who you thought lost. If you bet someone, their fight goes to split decision and they lose, Bet105 give you 25% of your money back. Hey, that's better than nothing, especially considering the state of judging in modern day MMA. And now we're back in the apex with Adelaide Bird, Derek can't see so clearly, Ron McCarthy. Come on, man. I ain't trying to deal with all that. So my friends, go to bet105.ag, use my promo code HalfTheBattle, deposit $100 and get a $50 free bet at bet105.ag using my promo code HalfTheBattle. Now let's get back to the show. Next up in the light heavyweight division, we got a matchup between Kevin Christian, he's 9-2, taking on Billy Elekana, who's 8-2. Currently, they got it Billy Elekana minus 260. The comeback on Kevin Christian is plus 220. So both men are 30, but Kevin Christian is 4 inches taller at 6'7", and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage at 80 inches of reach. So this is an interesting matchup because I'm not that high on either guy. I know who I find more entertaining, but I think that these are two of the most lower tier guys in the light heavyweight division. Because, I mean, when you're talking about this guy, Kevin Christian, look, he's 6'7". He's a big boy. But, I mean, look at some of these highlights, man. Gets taken down super easy. And, yeah, he's got some submissions off his back. I mean, that's how he ended up winning the Contender Series fight. And when you're 6'7", you got those long-ass limbs. I mean, you can lock some stuff up from off your back. You can get sweeps, and look at this triangle choke. I mean, you do not want to get caught in there, no matter what the level is. Triangle armbar, by the way. But look at this fight, his second to last fight, or his last fight before Contender Series. This is like a barroom school cafeteria brawl. I mean, this is one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen. It's just, how does stuff like that translate at the UFC level? There he gets dropped, but he comes back and he floors this dude. Look, you can't question the heart of Kevin Christian. It's just, you got to question the technique and how that'll translate at the highest level of the sport. So yeah, I love watching this dude fight. He's fucking awesome. Fucking awesome entertainment wise, not necessarily skills wise, but yeah, as far as an all violence guy who's just going to go out there balls to the wall, you love to see it. Now on the other side with Billy Elekana, I've been very harsh on him, and in my opinion, rightfully so. Look, this is the only moment he had against Ebo. But here in this fight with Bogdan Guskov, he takes him down early, and it seems like he's doing his thing. Okay, it's all right, man. But as soon as any adversity presented itself, I mean, look at these optics, man. This is absolutely terrible. Hey, man, circle. Hey, man, shoot for a takedown. Hey, man, throw back. Do something. What is going on here? These are the kind of things I don't like to see. And then look how quick he taps here. Look at this. I mean, like, come on, man. That's the kind of stuff I don't want to deal with. But it does seem like his techniques. I mean, it doesn't just seem like it. His technique is better than Kevin Christian's, and that's the concern. But you know what else is a concern? This guy's fucking minus 260 to minus 280, and he's one of the worst fighters on the roster. So, yeah, I mean, God bless y'all that are taking, you know, this guy in your parlays, you know. Like I said, that first UFC fight, he straight up quit. And that second UFC fight, you know, I'm not one to throw around the conspiracy theory narratives and this and that. Like, if something's really disgusting, I'm going to let you know, like in the Derek Minner, Shai Elan fight. But, like, when you think about Ibo Aslan, right, like, this guy is known for being, like, ultra aggressive, balls to the wall every single fight. And before the Elekana fight, I mean, he goes to Dagestan 8 weeks and forget how to fight. Like, did he get a call up the night of the fight that maybe, you know, yeah, your line just got steamed. Maybe we should take the opposite side. I'm not making accusations. I'm just genuinely curious. And you know, I'm not the kind of guy to talk in those terms. But in that fight, I didn't understand it because, look, the total strike count was 35 to 28. So it's not like Billy Elekana was, you know, giving him a threat of a long jab or, you know, rocking him or doing any of these things. It was like one guy threw one strike, the other guy threw 0 strikes type thing. You know, I'm exaggerating on that, but you understand what I'm saying. Did Ibo throw that fight, man? Because, like, to this day, to quote Deontay Wilder, I do not understand that performance. And I know someone's gonna be like, oh, you're bitter. You disrespected Elekana and took Ibo. Yeah, I took Ibo. Ibo's the better fighter. I still think that. Ibo just didn't fight, which I don't understand. Like, Ibo's had, like, what, 15 pro fights or something like that? When has he ever performed like that? Look, he can win some fights, he can lose some fights, but to actually go out there and not throw for 3 straight rounds when you have a reputation for being an ultra aggressive killer be killed fighter, make it make sense. Because I didn't take anything away from Elekana. I thought Elekana sucked going into the fight. I think he sucks after the fight. Like, that wasn't about Elekana doing something right. That was about Ibo Aslan literally not fighting. So what exactly happened there? Like, someone explain that to me, because to this day, I still don't understand. I see 2 scenarios in this fight. The first one, even though Elekana is on the lower tier, Kevin Christian is also on that. So it's a situation where Elekana's techniques are going to be a little bit sharper, and he's probably going to win the fight on that way. Or he's going to beat the dog shit out of Kevin Christian, and Kevin is going to get like a miracle comeback opportunistic finish. I could totally see Elekana falling apart down the stretch, and, you know, after winning the majority of the fight and losing, you know, and losing as a big favorite. So I would caution you parlaying a guy like Billy Elekana. When you got the word "can" in your last name, that's all I got to say. But I'd love to take a plus 220 dog against Elekana. It's just, can I trust Kevin Christian? Do I need to trust him at these odds? I don't know. Pure pick, I'll go Elekana, which I never thought I'd say in a million years. Do not be surprised if Kevin Christian gets some kind of opportunistic comeback finish where he's losing the entire fight and then pulls off like a Paul Craig miracle at the last second. Next up in the bantamweight division, we got a matchup between Timmy Cuamba, Twilight Timmy. He's 9-3, taking on Chang Ho Lee, who's 11-1. Currently, they got it Timmy Cuamba minus 120. The comeback on Chang Ho Lee is plus 100. So Chang Ho Lee's 31. Timmy's 26. Timmy's an inch taller at 5'9". He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage at 71 inches of reach. So I got to point out that Timmy's dropping to 135 pounds, which about damn time, kid, because, like, fighting at 55s against Balaji Oki, like, what? And then the Lucas Almeida fight, one of the bigger featherweights on the roster, and didn't have his hand broken going into that fight, you know? So you saw how Cuamba handles a step down in competition against Roberto Romero, but now dropping to 135 pounds. That might be the best decision he's ever made. Because when you're talking about this guy, Timmy Cuamba, listen, man, he's technical. He's kind of a pot shotter, but, man, he's getting better. He can mix in takedowns. He's taking down the majority of his opponents. But look here. Look at this flying knees about to hit Romero with, man. I mean, like, he went out there and did his thing. Look, here it comes, man. Here. Oh, man. Like, and this is a sign that he's starting to get more comfortable inside the octagon. But here, look at the size difference with him and Lucas Almeida. Like, he tried his hardest, but no wonder every time he got touched, he got dropped. That's not a chin issue. That's a fucking wrong weight class. issue, man. And you know, he still fought like a warrior. He didn't go out. Here he's up 2 weight classes at 55s against Belagioki. Like, dude, what are you doing? I know you have to take those opportunities, but hey, here he's on top of a much larger man. Like, respect to Cuamba. So I'm glad he's dropping down. Oh man, nasty high kick. Good finishing instinct as well. So yeah, I think that this is the best move that Timmy Cuamba's ever made, dropping to 135 pounds. I can't wait to see how it goes, and hopefully he's got a good weight cut, can rehydrate properly, and go out there and perform on fight night. Now on the other side with Chan Ho Lee, they're calling this guy the Korean Habib, and you know, I'm not buying it, man. Look, I respect the guy, and he's got a style that could take him far, with that weaponized cardio, but like, you see the level of competition he's fighting? Cortemius, Romeus, are you kidding me? Like, they try to set up Cortemius, Romeus with some I don't want to say easy opponents, but lower level opponents. Gaston Bolaños and this guy, and these guys like gave him a tour of the octagon straight up. But here you see a better guy might have some moments against Chan Ho Lee, and yeah, I'm glad they got rid of Cortemius, Romeus. You know, similar to Themba Gorimbo. He also deleted all his social media, like so. But man, Chan Ho Lee, I don't want to discredit him, man. Look, he knows where his strengths lie. He's dominant in that area of the game, and he's been doing his thing. So I love this prospect showdown, man. So yeah, and he's a guy that's overcome adversity in fights too. You know, I've seen him get dropped before, but like, he's a very tough guy. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting matchup. I'm gonna lean with Timmy Cuamba here, man. I think that he's fought the much higher level of competition. I think he's the more well-rounded guy. And before the fact, I don't think the relentless takedown is gonna be as big of a factor as people think in this spot. So for that reason, I think Timmy Cuamba is gonna touch, move, pick this guy apart, and ultimately come out here and win his bantamweight debut. Next up in the middleweight division, we got a matchup between Donte Johnson, he's 6-0, taking on Sedriques Dumas, who's 10-3. Currently, they got it Donte Johnson minus 350. The comeback on Sedriques Dumas is plus 285. So Dumas is 4 years older at 30, and he's significantly taller at 6'2 compared to 5'8". He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage at 79 inches of reach. So great fight, because this is Donte Johnson's debut. You know, on Contender Series, he was fighting at heavyweight now, and he weighed in at like 209 pounds, knocking out some big boys, like a 6'5" guy or whatever. So now dropping down 2 weight classes to 185 pounds, that's the best decision that he's ever made. Because, I mean, when you talk about a guy and Donte Johnson, I mean, this guy's a short, stocky marauder. And to quote the great Lil Wayne, the way I would describe Donte Johnson's fighting style is, I'm going in, and I'm go, you know, so like, this guy just gets right in your face. He's not intimidated by you if you're that much taller, that much bigger, and he just puts it on guys. And I mean, for like a little short dude, I mean, look at this flying knee he's about to hit a big boy, you know what I'm saying? And his killer instinct is second to none. If he smells that he's got you hurt, he'll go out there and close the show, man. And the fact that he's been putting in so much time to get the weight down, I feel like middleweight's going to be the right move. Oh my God, he starched that guy. So you love what you're seeing, especially against much bigger guys, because he's going to be fighting a much bigger guy here again. Well, in terms of height, maybe not in terms of mass, but yeah, there's a lot to like about Donte Johnson. Obviously, he's had less than 10 pro fights. He's taken on a seasoned, experienced UFC vet. But, you know, Johnson, he seems kind of economical with his fighting style. And yeah, he's getting these first round finishes, but I don't have any reason to believe that he's going to, you know, drastically slow down as fights progress. It's like, does his thing, and as soon as he gets you hurt, that's when he swarms, and seems like a serious athlete. Now on the other side with Sedriques Dumas, you know, this guy has kind of been a letdown. Now, you know, shout out to his balls right here for getting kicked super hard against Zach Reese, man. It's funny, he's coming back before Zach Reese. It was what it was, man. But here against Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, any sign of adversity, you look for the door. But again, Oleksiejczuk's on a completely different level than Sedriques Dumas, so it was what it was. And then you give him a step down against Denis Chaluin. He clearly won the fight, but it's like too close for comfort. And then start to look for a way out. Eye poke, schmy poke. Okay, well, the ref didn't see it. So don't start covering up. And, you know, like, what, like, dude, his fight IQ is just absolutely terrible. Here against Josh Fremd, who's no longer in the UFC. Look at this judo throw. Oh, man, I felt the impact of that. Quick tap to the guillotine. Now, this is his most impressive performance on Dana White's Contender Series back when Dumas had confidence. Look at this power guillotine. that Dumas has. So this is why people thought that this guy might turn out to be a promising prospect, but it just hasn't panned out. I mean, this guy's getting arrested every other week. He's got an ankle monitor, and it doesn't seem like he's evolved. Now, I heard some people saying that, oh, he looked super good against Zach Reese in the short time span that fight lasted, but I couldn't disagree more. Was he more aggressive? Yes. He was going out there and straight up street fighting. There were no feints, no setups. He was just going out there spamming high kicks, throwing big bombs, and like it looked like, oh man, he's about to wear down super fast, and Zach Reese is going to take over. So I feel for Zach Reese that he wasn't able to not kick him in the balls that hard and not have the fight continue, because I very confidently felt like Zach Reese was going to really wear this guy down and then get him out of there. So here, Donte Johnson, I know we don't talk about practice, shout out Allan Iverson, but on his regional scene, he did get head kick knocked out, but those are the kind of things you learn from. That was at heavyweight. This is at 185. And I think he's got the perfect opponent to go out there in the small apex cage, walk him down, put some hands on him. I'm not saying he's going to knock him out clean, but you don't have to. As soon as there's any sign of adversity presented to Sedriques Dumas, he starts to cover up, he starts to shell, he'll take a seat and let the ref intervene. So I'm going to go Donte Johnson to walk down Sedriques Dumas and finish him via strikes and send him back to the dog crate. Next up in the bantamweight division, we got a matchup between Ketlen Vieira, she's 15-4, taking on Norma, Mrs. Tulio Dumont, who's 12-2. Currently, they got it Norma Dumont -165. The comeback on Ketlen Vieira is +145. So Dumont's 35, Vieira's 34. Vieira is an inch taller at 5'8" and has an inch in reach at 68 inches of reach. So I'm happy for Norma Dumont in the best current form of her career. And she's fighting on a level right now where it seems like she could be making a title run. I mean, you're truly dealing with someone that crushed the grapes, and now she is drinking the wine, because the performance she recently put on against Irene Aldana, to have that kind of volume against someone who's primarily known for their boxing, and just to pick them apart to the extent that she was doing. And in other fights, I mean, again, here's against a former UFC champion, Jermaine Duran. I mean, look at the variety of the takedowns that she hit her with, whether it was double legs or body lock takedowns. Like, she can do it all, man. Here, the infamous hitting Chelsea Chandler and making her go head first into the cage. I mean, I'll never forget that. Judo throws there, body lock takedown. I mean, like, Norma Dumont is rounding out her game, and you really, truly love to see it. Here against Daniel Wolf, made Dana realize that maybe I shouldn't have signed this 1-0 fighter. But look, she treated her like that, drops the boxer. And I really, truly like what I'm seeing from Dumont. And I feel like right now, with her and Tulio being in the headspace that they're in, they're kind of low-key unstoppable right now. I mean, Marco Tulio is the most confident man in the UFC. And if you're around someone like that every single day, and in addition to that, at that shoot the box camp, I mean, Norma Dumont's confidence just has to be elevating to that next level. And guys, I'm not just, this ain't about, a fighter dating a fighter. That ain't the case. I mean, you saw with Brian Caraway and Miesha Tate, that was a toxic relationship. Whereas with these two, I feel like them meeting each other is the best thing that ever happened for both of them. They're pushing each other to new heights, new levels. And as you see, they're both on ridiculous runs. And Dumont is a fight or two away from a UFC title shot. Now, on the other side with Ketlen Vieira, I have so much respect for her. At one point, I thought that she could have challenged Amanda Nunes, but that was a long-ass time ago. That's here in this fight where I max bet her against Kat Zingano. I mean, look at those judo throws, man. She was really doing her thing. Here against Sarah McMahon. Look at this arm triangle, man. I mean, she got Sarah McMahon quick tapping, which was a thing back in the day. Oh, my God. There she got floored by Irene Aldana badly, and she's got a negative finish ratio in the UFC. And to get one punch knocked out like that, is not the look you want to see. Going 50-50 in striking exchanges with Miesha Tate. Yeah, man. And I mean, I thought she clearly won that fight. Here in the Holly Holm fight, people acted like Holly Holm got robbed. Now, I disagree. I give that fight to Ketlen Vieira, but still, when you're going life and death with 40-year-olds that are a fight or two away from retirement, That's that shit I don't like, you know? So, yeah, my biggest issue with Ketlen Vieira is that she simply hasn't evolved, right? Super low volume on the feet. Look, she's skilled everywhere, man. I mean, she comes out of a great gym at Nova União. This is Nova União over Shoot the Box, so you love to see it. But which team is on the up and which team's on the down? You guys know what the deal is. I think Norma Dumont's gonna have too much volume for her on the feet, and I think she can avoid the judo throws of Ketlen Vieira. And I think if Norma Dumont wants to give a different look by level changing, I think she can take down Ketlen Vieira. So yeah, you know, two high level women, it could be a split decision type fight, but I don't know where Norma Dumont's confidence and experience are at now. Everything's meeting at the perfect time for her to come out here, have the best performance of her career, and possibly secure that UFC title shot. So I took Dumont earlier in the week at minus 130, and seems like I did my job, you know, as far as where the current odds are and where they should close. So give me Norma Dumont to come out here. Most likely a decision, but I mean, we've seen Vieira get knocked out cold, and we're starting to see Dumont get a lot more comfortable and confident with her hands. So regardless, give me Dumont to come out here and win this fight. Next up in the strawweight division, we got a matchup between Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. She's 10-4, taking on Elise Ardelean, who's 10-7. Currently, they got it Elise Ardelean minus 400. The comeback on Ruiz is plus 300. So Ardelean's 33, Ruiz is 32. Ardelean's 3 inches taller at 5'3". She's gonna have a 1-inch reach advantage at 62 inches of reach. So it's not often you see 10-7 fighter at minus 400 odds. But the thing about it is Ruiz is kind of judo throw, you know, head and arm throw or bust. And not only that, she's so badly outsized, not just in this fight, but like in every UFC fight she's in. You know, she's tiny and she only has one thing going for her. Now, I've counted her out in the past. Remember that Cheyenne Vlismas fight, that Cheyenne Dolidze fight? A lot of people didn't see that coming, so she's had a big upset before. But since that point, I just haven't seen any evolution in her game whatsoever. Like I said, she's simply too small. I think the reason they kept her around is actually her husband or boyfriend or whatever, Victor Davila. Shout out to him. He's a great commentator for the UFC Latino America crowd. And I guess, you know, he's in with the company. So maybe that's why she stuck around so long, because I don't think she's UFC caliber at this point. With Ardelean, she might not ever hit the rankings, but at least she's shown toughness. She's fought close with everyone she's been in there with. And if she can avoid these judo throws, I think she should come out here and win this decision. And, you know, my favorite thing about Ardelean is, you know, she's got a lot of assets. And as long as she doesn't get judo throw too many times, I think that she's got more past the victory. And I'm going to pick her to come out here and win this fight. Next up in the welterweight division, we got a matchup between Philly Fresh Phil Rowe, he's 11-5, taking on Seokyeon Ko, who's 12-2. Currently, they got it Ko minus 195. The comeback on Phil Rowe is plus 170. Rowe's 35. Ko is 32. Rowe is always taller. He's 6'3", and Ko is 5'10". And Rowe has an 80.5-inch reach compared to Ko's 71-inch reach. So 9.5-inch reach advantage. Yeah. Interesting stuff. But here's my thing with Phil Rowe. Are y'all trying to go through the Phil Rowe experience again, where this guy looks like an utter bum in round 1, and then in round 3, when he hurts you, he looks like the best fighter on planet Earth, you know? But obviously I'm exaggerating. But my point is that, like, why does Phil Rowe have to get rocked and dropped in round 1 every single fight? Why does he have to rely on comeback finishes? Because, like, he's got this massive reach advantage in every fight he's in. He's a black belt under Julian Williams. Like, I don't understand, man. Because, like, with Phil Rowe, dude, he could have been so good. It just hasn't materialized. Here against Ange Lusa, this was in Atlanta. I was at this fight. I bet Phil Rowe here. And it's like, man, he's just getting rocked all over the place. This is not the first time it's happened. And it's like, dude, how many times can you overcome that before you finally get stopped? Now, look, he's got heart. You can't deny his heart. Ends up coming back against Ange Lusa and knocks out a very, very durable guy. So you got to give him credit for that. Like, when Phil Rowe finally finds his range and he finds those finishes, like, his finishing combos are beautiful to watch. It's just like, why does it take so damn long to get to that point? That's what I've been trying to figure out for years, man. You know, here against Nico Price, you overcame some adversity in this fight too. He got rocked by Nico Price at one point as well too. I bet him here I was sweating my balls off, but eventually he got a 2 knee braces, Nico Price, and did his thing. But look, like when he's finishing guys, I mean, look how nice those finishing combos look. I just wish that, do you have to get dropped and taken down and all these things at the beginning of all these fights to get to this point where you really turn up and go Super Saiyan late in the fights? Like that's my issue with Phil Rowe, because the talent's there, the range, the size, the jiu-jitsu, like there's really a lot to like about him. It's just like, can you put it all together? Like, do you have to give us all a scare every single fight before you finally finish these guys? And how long are you going to be able to sustain that style for? Now he's a bit chinny, and now he's 35 years old. So it's one of those things where it's like, am I trying to go through the Phil Rowe experience again? Sometimes it pays off. It paid off against Jason Witt. It paid off against Ange Lusa. It paid off against the Kosi brother. It sure as hell didn't pay off against Gabe Green. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of if you're trying to go through that again, because it will be a sweat with Phil Rowe. Maybe some Phil Rowe round 2, round 3 props might be worth a look. But before you look into that, let's talk about his opponent, Ko, because this guy's come a long way, man. I mean, he's very, very well-rounded. Look at the variety of takedowns he hit on Oban Elliott, and here he's telling him, hey, who is the baddest man in town, And I just like the well-rounded attack. You want to take him down, he's going to reverse positions on you, man, but also he will offensively wrestle too. Like, there's truly a lot to like about him. And when we get to the stand-up footage, which is coming here shortly, a nice judo throw there. I mean, like, dude, like Ko is a well-rounded dude, but okay. But I like how he closes the distance. Like for a dude who's kind of shorter and fights with his hands down, like, and he snipes with that left hand. And then look, he can mix in all levels. Like, he's a really well-rounded MMA fighter. And yeah, like I said, I love how he closes distance, gets his head off the center line. Man, there's truly so much to like about about Ko. And now that he's starting to feel more comfortable, he got one of the biggest upsets of the year against Oban Elliott. I mean, we haven't heard from Oban Elliott since, and Oban Elliott's ego was like way up there. And have you all heard from him since? So yeah, it's just like, again, I'm going to repeat myself. Are y'all trying to go through the Phil Rowe experience where you might get knocked out, you might get knocked down, but if he doesn't, and you gas out against him in that third round, I mean, his finishing instinct is second to none. Like, he can find finishes, so you got to give him credit for that. It's just like, how long can you sustain that style for? And I really like what I see from Ko. Like, I've kind of been sleeping on him a bit, and maybe now that I'm going to pick him, he's finally going to lose, from a comeback finish from Phil Rowe. But I don't know. Ko is developing very, very nicely, and I think he might be a problem for years to come. So actually, although it's tempting at plus 170 on Phil Rowe, and who knows, maybe I see something later in the week that sways me over, because I have bet Rowe in a lot of fights. It's just like, can my heart take this? Can I stomach the Phil Rowe experience again? I'm just not convinced. So I'm gonna go Hyuk Kyung Ko to come out here and extend his win streak in the UFC. Next up in the strawweight division, we got a matchup between Talita Alankar. She's 6-1-1, taking on Ariane Carnelosi, who's 15-3. Currently, they got it. Talita Alankar minus 210. The comeback on Carnelosi is plus 180. Alankar is 35. Carnelosi is 32. Carnelosi is an inch taller at 5'2", and the reaches are interesting. 58.5 for Alankar, 61.5 for Carnelosi. So basically, the way I describe them is Alankar kind of has that Jacqueline Amorim style, world-class jiu-jitsu, and if she can, get it going early and do her thing, then man, she's gonna cruise. But if you can start to make her work, she will fatigue. She will start flopping to her back, like you saw in that Stephanie Luciano fight, in both those fights, to be frank. And on the other side with Carnelosi, she's kind of like a poor woman's Jessica Andrade, I mean, on every supplement in the book, look at those biceps. Hey, if that's all natural, send me your lifting routine. I'd love to learn, but in all seriousness, I think what's going to cost Carnelosi here is that how easily she gives up these takedowns. And also, I kind of question the heart a bit. She took that easy DQ against Vieira, which Vieira fucked that up for herself, man. I mean, when you get warned on the headbutt and then you headbutt them again right away, and I'm not talking about an unintentional clash of heads. I'm talking about a deliberate headbutt. Like that was just ridiculous fight IQ by Piera Rodriguez. But here, I do think Alankar is going to have that takedown success. It's just about, if you can't finish her, the next round starts on the feet. And Alankar, just like Amorim, when she can't have that dominance, she will slow down in these fights. But just Carnelosi's shown me some serious holes on the mat. And it's funny because they're both black belts, but there's black belts and then there's black belts. And I think that Allan Carr's black belt is on a different level. Now, one thing I don't like is that I don't have an issue with you being 35. I just have an issue with you being 35 and having less than 10 pro fights. Like, yeah, when you're that age, I want you to be seasoned, experienced, and she's simply not, but she does have a big edge on the mat. So, yeah, I'm not planting my flag, but I'm going to go Allan Carr to come out here and have some kind of ground dominance and win this fight. So before we talk about the fight to watch and the fighter to watch, I need you all to do me a huge favor. Please hit the subscribe button, because as soon as I get to 10K subscribers, I'm giving out some free signed Malcolm Wellmaker merch. And preferably we do that before his fight in New York in a week or two, because I don't want to be hitting him up while he's in New York. I'd like to get this done next week. And it's not just one person that's going to win. Multiple people are going to win a ton of signed gear from Malcolm Wellmaker. So I see my analytics every single week, and I see that thousands of you watch my show, and like a lot, like more than half of y'all aren't hitting the subscribe button or the like button right now. Look, I appreciate the like button because that helps the algorithm push me to more eyes, but hit the subscribe so we can hit 10K subscribers. And if you do hit the subscribe button watching right now, leave me a comment that says, hey, just subscribed, and I'll personally make sure that you're entered into the contest to win the free signed Malcolm Wellmaker merch. So hook me up and I'll hook you up. That's a promise. I mean, guys, I don't charge for anything. All my stuff's free. And look at the hard work we put in. I mean, you see these highlight reels that my boy Meticulous does. Like, who else is doing that? So, guys, support half the battle. I've paid my dues. I've been doing this for so many years, and I want to keep doing it. But y'all got to help me out. So, please hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 10K subscribers. Now, my friends, now it's time to talk about the fight to watch and the fighter to watch. So, what is the fight to watch for UFC Vegas 110? Now, I don't do this often. I've said this before, but when I do, it's situations like this. My fight to watch has to be the main event between Garcia and Onama. I mean, both these guys are on the cusp of the top 10. Garcia's on a 6-fight win streak, dropped or knocked out all 6 of those opponents. And Onama's always had the potential, always been someone we've kept our eye on. And now he's finally in this UFC main event. And, man, this fight's just going to be an absolute banger. They're most likely going to stand and bang until one man falls, or until they go 5 rounds and get a fight of the year candidate. So for that reason, Garcia versus Onama is my fight to watch. So now the question is, who is my fighter to watch? My fighter to watch is Isaac Dulgarian. I think this guy's the definition of a blue chip prospect. I love the fact that he's no longer undefeated, even though he's acting like he didn't lose that fight. I still like the fact that he's tasted defeat. He knows what that's like. He's picked himself back up, and there's a certain ground dominance by Isaac Dulgarian that I think is going to take him straight into the top. So he's someone to absolutely keep your eye on, and for that reason, Isaac Dulgarian is my fighter to watch. Well, my friends, we did it. It's going down this Saturday night live at the Apex. Hey, hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button, because when I get to 10K subscribers, I'm giving out that free sign Malcolm Wellmaker merch. Hook me up. I'm going to hook y'all up. Leave me a comment, share if you feel so inclined. Y'all know where to follow me. Shout out to Go Meticulous for the incredible graphics, fighter highlight reels, thumbnails, everything you do behind the scenes. You are the man. But the biggest shout out of all goes to the fans. Y'all been down with me so many years, and I want you all to know the feeling's mutual. Much love. So until the next time, let's cash these bets.